Testing, testing my mic. Okay, I think my mic is okay. So, okay, my slide is okay. My line is okay. Okay, everything okay. Okay, so I'll come back for our class today. So, for our class today is we will continue into chapter 2, chapter 15, energy flow. Energy flow. So for today, we will cover about energy flow and then energy growth curve and then also the K and R strategies. So today and tomorrow, I will finish this chapter. Because all this chapter you already learn right. This is just chapter 2, so your school teacher compulsory already teach you. So this is just like a revision lah for you. So I will not take much time lah. If you have any question, you just type in the chat box lah. Okay. So we are wasting our time. We already 8 o'clock. Okay. So now we go to this chapter, energy flow. So when you talk about energy flow, normally talk about energy flow. This chapter you will learn about law of thermodynamic and also food chain and food web. So food chain and food web, I think you already learn in from primary school, right? Learn from primary school until now. So this food chain food web theory is very easy, I think. But for the Stpm syllabus, we have learned about the how energy transfer from one to another. So normally the energy transfer, we will learn about the law of thermodynamic. So this law, actually, this one is more to physics, right? It's more compared to physics. But in energy transfer, energy flow transfer, we will learn about is according to this theory, actually. So normally this law, there are two laws, either is first law and second law. So normally first law is that is state that our energy is only can be converted but cannot be destroyed. Meaning that the energy like the chemical energy or chemical energy, light energy or sound energy, all these we only can convert it like chemical energy to light energy or light energy to chemical energy or chemical energy to electrical energy. We only can convert this energy, but we cannot destroy the energy. There are no such thing that you can destroy the energy one. There are no such thing that like electrical energy or you can destroy the electrical energy. Meaning you can directly produce into electrical energy. Cannot. No such thing. In nature, no such thing. Even in human artificial way, there are no such thing that the energy can be destroyed. This is the first law. Then next is second law. So normally second law is state that when converting the energy will lose in form of heat. Meaning that when they convert some part of energy like light energy to chemical energy, so when it is during conversion, during this period of conversion, they will have energy loss. So one of the famous example is photosynthesis. One of the famous photosynthesis. If you know that photosynthesis is from light energy to chemical energy, right? So during this conversion, actually there are the heat releasing. They will heat release in form of the heat. So normally this heat. So there are the heat losing lah. So meaning that the energy will not obtain the higher level, the final form of energy will not obtain all the energy from the previous form. So one of the famous example is food chain. So if you still remember that if food chain from primary producer to primary consumer only can obtain 10% of energy, right? Only can obtain 10% of energy from producer. And then same as secondary consumer. Secondary consumer only can obtain 10% of energy from primary consumer, right? So meaning that there are 90% of energy is loose. If you still remember that you learned in SPM, so this one is according to this law, second law of thermodynamics. meaning the primary consumer cannot obtain all the energy from the producer one. Tak boleh ambil semua punya. Same as awak makan makanan. If you eat vegetable, eat rice, eat meat, you cannot obtain all the energy that within the food. You only can obtain maybe 10%, 20%, 30% like that only. You cannot obtain all. So this one is at what we know as second law one. So normally in law of thermodynamics, what we apply in biology normally is that if you know that our main energy, the initial energy that come from is solar energy from the sun. The sunlight is our main energy in the ecosystem. One of the initial energy lah. Apa-apa benda saja energy yang kami dapat is from the solar energy. If no solar energy, no sun, meaning our earth will be, our ecosystem in the earth will be affected lah. Affected lah. You will know right. I think you have seen that video, some YouTube video. You can search it. If sun is disappear, how about the earth? The earth will become macam mana? Macam tu kan. You can search it in YouTube or TikTok. There are many people like that lah. So normally solar energy is very important because it is the initial energy. So however, you will see that only 40% of the solar energy will remain in the earth, because sun energy is lost through reflection, transmission, evaporation, and the wavelength are not suitable for photosynthesis. Meaning that our Earth only can obtain 40% of solar energy from the sun. If let's say sun have the 100 billion kilojoule of energy, or 100 billion kilojoule of energy that can transmitted into the earth, but our earth will only can obtain 40 billion kilojoule of energy only. Other 60% will be loose. So why it is loose? Normally it because of reflection. Our light can undergo reflection, right? Transmission, evaporation, and even the wavelength. Not all the plant will not absorb all wavelength, right? It only absorbs certain wavelength only, right? If you learn in photosynthesis chapter, that's the one you learn. And so actually in our plant, only 1% of the solar energy is absorbed by plant only to convert into chemical energy. Meaning that within the 40%, only 1%, hanya 1% sahaja. Yang selain 99% semua hilang. Meaning that 100 billion kilojoule, normally the plant will only absorb 100 billion punya 1% is what? 100 billion punya 1% I think is 1,000, right? 10,000. You can kira yourself. Meaning that the solar energy uptake is very little only, because all of the energy is actually already loose. So this one is very important point that you want to learn. Okay, so next one is about the equation. So normally you will see these two terms, GPP and MPP. So GPP is that the gross primary production and also net primary production. So what are they? So normally GPP is the total primary production which produces synthesis the organic matter. Meaning that this is the energy that producer make. Producer can make 100 kilojoule of energy. NPP is that the rate at which producers store material. Meaning that this is the energy that producers store. Dia simpan energy too. GPP is how much of energy that produce, that plant produce. MPP is that the plant store how many energy within their plant. So normally they will provide the equation like this. MPP, this one, net primary production, will equal to GPP minus RA. So this RA actually is energy loss. energy loss lah. And then it will equal to this unit kilojoule per meter square per Y. Inilah equation awak kena remember because sometimes objective question will come out. So you need to remember this equation. Okay, another one. Okay, now we opposite to food chain. So I think this pyramid, this pyramid, I think everyone is familiar with it, right? Normally you will know that producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. So all of them will only the higher profit level only can obtain 10% of energy from the lower profit level. So semua ni hanya dapat primary consumer only dapat 10%, secondary consumer only dapat 10% from primary consumer, and then tertiary consumer only can get 10% of energy from secondary consumer. So meaning that using this rule, meaning that our food chain actually cannot be too long. Actually, quaternary consumer at even high is very rare because actually they cannot obtain very much energy already. If you imagine they only can get 10%, 10%, 10%, like this, maybe this one is 100, and then 100 kilojoule producer, and then primary consumer only can obtain 10 kilo, and then secondary consumer only can get 1, and then tertiary consumer only can get 0.1 only. So it is very become less and less. So from quaternary or even higher actually is not logicable because they cannot obtain very high energy from the tertiary consumer one. Because the tertiary consumer actually they obtain the energy is very low already, very low amount. So that is why that the our food chain cannot be too long. Tak ada logic punya, sangat panjang punya. Memang tak ada logic because the higher to the even more higher to field level they cannot obtain energy from the low already because the energy amount is very small. So normally this one is logic in theory. So normally food chain, this is the definition. Now refer to the transfer of food energy upward from the plant through herbivore to carnivore and eventually to decomposer. So this one, I think everyone is know. So normally there are four types of food chain. So there are main two class: grazing food chain and also ditches food chain. So this one ditches food chain is more special because it will begin with the dead organic matter, like the dead leaf, dead plant, or like the dead animal, like human, dead animal, all are the dead substance, dead organic matter. So this one is maybe this one normally is not begin from plant one. The grazing food chain is begin from producer, which is plant. But for this one, it is begin from the dead organic matter. So like dead plant or dead animal. Tu lah, mati punya. Dia mula-mula daripada mati punya. So normally this one is begin from the dead material. So normally it is eaten by the wood louse, and then these wood louse can be eaten by the bird. So the main differences is that the beginning of the food chain is different. For grazing, it began with plant. For this one that treated dendritus, it began with the dead organic matter. Okay, and then grazing food chain, we will proceed to the different two types. Either is predatory or parasitic. Also, predatory is the very famous example that you learn from primary school until now. So normally it will begin with producer and then go to the primary consumer, secondary and tertiary, and then you see that the size of the animal, the size of the organism will is become larger and larger. You see here, producer is very small, right? And then primary consumer is very small, and then snack is bigger, right? And then eagle is more even bigger. So this one is because of the size. The size of an organism is become larger in higher trophic level. And then another one is parasitic. So parasitic is terbalik. They are reverse. Meaning that the higher trophic level is become very smaller. Like the final one is microorganism, bacteria, fungi. So this one is we call as decomposer. Because they can decompose the consumer. This consumer when eat that mati, dia sudah mati, bacteria akan makan dia. Or maybe this bacteria can infect him like virus lah. like virus or bacteria can make an infection to this organism. So the for parasitic, because it already say parasite, right? So meaning that the organism in higher level or trophic level, the organism is become more smaller. Okay, and then food web, I think this one, I think I don't know, I don't need to explain more, right? Food web is a group of food chain are linked together. So when there are many food chain combined to each other, it will form food web. So this one is the one of the example you can see it. Okay, now we will proceed to the energy flow transfer from sun. So actually this one I already mentioned some part. So this one is just that I will explain in very fast because I already explained well. So from sun, we already know sun is the initial energy to our life. Right. So I already mentioned only less than 1% of the solar energy is used in photosynthesis. And only the plant only can absorb only 1% of solar energy only. So normally most solar energy, why it's like that? Because it already reflected or absorbed by ozone layer, dust particle or cloud, or reflection, transmission, evaporation like that lah. And then so most energy fail to strike the grand plant or absorbed by soil. So this one will cause the another 99% of the energy is failed to go to the green plant lah. And then and then when got and then also of the solar radiation striking the leaf, much is used in evaporating water from the leaf. So some of the solar energy is not be absorbed. Some of the energy is due to evaporation, right? I already mentioned got evaporation because it evaporate water from the plant. Okay, and then sunlight is absorbed by the chlorophyll of the green plant. So this 1% of energy will be absorbed by chlorophyll in the green plant. So sunlight will straight to the plant is not in photosynthesis at this rate. And then chlorophyll only absorb mostly red and blue wavelength. So this one is the theory that you learn in photosynthesis. Okay, so the total amount of energy can capture in newly synthesized carbohydrate during photosynthesis is called GPP. So I did mention GPP is the total energy that we produce from the plant. Ah, okay. Okay, and then much of the producer material die and enter the decomposer trophic level. So this one is that when it enter the food chain, we call as we call as the detritus food chain lah. Dendritic food chain or parasitic food chain. When the producer is died. Okay, and then generally 50% of the material enter the decomposer food chain rather than consumer food chain. And then producer are eaten by primary consumer. So normally it's animal. And then when the plant is eaten, and then will be executed effects and will be available to decomposer. And then some of the plant material eaten and digested will be assimilated. Then some of energy assimilated will be respired and lost as heat and all confidable. So all this is about the energy flow from the plant to the primary consumer one. So there are many situations lah. Where either one first situation is that when we know that when the primary consumer our animal we were adjusted right akan berat kan akan berat as the feces. So there's feces, so these feces will be available for the decomposer, so for microorganism first situation. Or another situation is that our primary consumer will assimilated the nutrient, the energy. And another one is that this energy assimilated will be respired and lost as the heat in all trophic level. So this is the because reason that our energy will be lost lah. So some energy will be lost in urine and loss of the urine also. And then productivity of one trophic level is less than that of previous trophic level. So you see that only 10% of energy could be is concealed by one trophy level is available. Okay, so this without the limit of number of trophy level. So this one is overall process lah, all of the overall process in the energy flow. Okay, another one is in tropical forest. So actually, same theory as the what we mentioned in start. But this one we were more focused about the tropical forest. So actually the first previous point is almost same. So you see that GPP and then MPP and then primary consumer and then energy transfer from producer to primary consumer, all this is same. And then you see here Herbera energy as outer life for respiration and reproduction. And then those two respiration, irrigation, and excretory waste. Just that you need to use the example of the animal in plant in the tropical forest lah. Like you can like tiger ke, plant ke, or eagle ke, all this lah. Okay, so actually this one is just something similar from the sun lah. Okay, so energy flow is just like that. So it is very easy topic, not very difficult one. Okay, so I think that's all for this topic. So any question? Got question or not? No question. Okay, so now we proceed to the ecology growth curve. Slide got right. Okay. We proceed to the ecology growth curve. So in general, we have two type of ecology growth curve. Either is exponential or logistic. Okay. So this one is the combination of curve. So exponential meaning that it is a red line one. It is a red line one, or another name we call as J-shape curve. Oh, sorry. J-shape curve. Okay, another name is we know as J-shape curve. This is J shape. And then blue color one is we call as S shape. Ini nama lain lah. Tapi in scientific term is exponential and logistic. So this one red color one is exponential. This one blue color one is logistic. So what are the main difference? You can see that this one red one is exponential, right? So it does not have the maximum point one. It can up to very high one. Unlimited one. But this one logistic, it has the maximum point at here. The maximum point is only 1,000 only. So this one is population side against the number of generation. Meaning that the number of organisms in one population is limited in logistic curve. And then in the exponential curve, the number of organisms in one population is unlimited. It can it can survive until different or further generation. Maksudnya dia akan produce lah, akan lahirkan anak yang sangat banyak without any limitation. But for this one logistic curve, it has a limitation. So why is like that? So normally exponential curve, this one, J-shaped curve, it only occur increase under ideal condition. Meaning ideal condition is perfect condition. There are totally no restriction at all. No prey, no predator, and then our environment is very suitable. And then the most important is unlimited resources. No limited resources. The resources is unlimited, meaning that the size, the area of that survive, and then the food and water, and also the oxygen, all this environment is unlimited one. Memang perfect punya. So this one only can occur in this situation so that the organism can be reproduce, akan lahirkan banyak-banyak anak, tak ada halangan punya. Memang dia akan hadir anak-anak, tak ada halangan. No, because no predator at all. And then the resources is unlimited. So that there is no limit of the population size. So normally this curve only can contain two phases. Either is lag phase and exponential phase. So this one is lag phase. Begin one is lag phase, and then it will continue to exponential phase. So for this logistic curve, it will have lag phase and exponential phase, and then until it reach the limit, reach the carrying capacity, meaning it already achieved stationary phase. So I think this growth curve you already learned in semester 2, right? Lag phase, log phase, stationary phase, and dead phase, right? So for this one, exponential curve, growth curve, it only until exponential growth only. Exponential phase only. Dia tak ada stationary phase punya. Kerana your resources is unlimited and then no predator at all. Environment is very suitable at all. So memang tak ada stationary phase. Memang dia akan grow without limitation. But for this logistic curve, in logistic lah, logic kan, in normal situation memang ada stationary phase and then until that phase. So this one is what we call an exponential growth curve. So this one I already mentioned is exponential because number of individual immigrated increase every year, although the net reproductive rate is constant. Meaning that the number of individual is immigrated increase. Memang dia increase every year one. Tak ada decrease punya. And then under optimal condition, the rate of increase of population will reach maximum value known as abiotic potential. And then the population growth stop or decline when there is sudden of environmental resistance. So this one, exponential growth curve, when we want to change to logistic, kalau dia ada ini situation, there are sudden of environmental resistance, such as one of the example is disaster problem, maybe earthquake, tsunami, volcano, or flood. Ada benda macam ni lah. Or they are predator. Because in this situation, no predator at all. Dia memang, hidup sangat senang selesa. Tak ada predator at all. Tak ada orang makan dia. Like in ecosystem right, no people eat he and no competition. No competition at all. So, memang lah dia akan grow, akan lahirkan anak lagi banyak lah. But they are the environmental resistant like disaster or when they are predator or they are something else that can affect him. So it will directly go to the logistic curve. Okay, so this one logistic curve, actually this one is more normal lah. Ini memang normal punya. In normal situation. Memang ini logistic exponential growth curve normally will only occur in microorganism. And then occur in microorganism which is our human make the environment like that. Make the unlimited resources environment to that microorganism. So normally this one is that you will learn about the want to ensure that the bacteria, the microorganism is always uh, is always active to produce the desired product lah. So normally is genetic cloning. Genetic cloning is one of the example that we need to maintain the exponential phase of the microorganism. Kerana memang kami nak in genetic cloning, why we want to do cloning? Like the insulin production already teach in insulin production, we use the Ecology, right? So meaning that we need to produce very much of insulin. So how to produce much insulin? So they produce insulin that we express from the Ecology, right? So meaning that when we want to produce higher amount of insulin, memang kami kena and maintain the Ecology is in the exponential phase. Exponential phase. Kami tak boleh tak boleh menyebabkan Ecology to enter stationary phase, because when it enters stationary phase meaning no growth occur and then it will directly go to the death phase already. So kalau enter death phase, insulin production is already little, right? Because we need insulin. So memang kami kena maintain exponential phase punya. So ini normally is only apply in the microorganism. In human or plant, we cannot maintain this. Memang tak boleh. Memang tak boleh punya. We cannot say that we can maintain the unlimited resources environment. Memang tak boleh. Tak boleh. Memang tak boleh punya. Very difficult. Not saying tak boleh. Memang difficult. But microorganism can. Okay. Okay, so logistic is the normal condition in all living organisms. So normally this one is that the logistic growth curve occur when the population growth approach zero as the population size and near the carrying capacity. So carrying capacity, later we will learn what are the definition. Normally this what is this? So I think all of you already know, right? Carrying capacity, if I'm not mistaken, is the maximum environmental surface space that can be achieved by the that can be survived by the organism. Maksudnya dia ada maximum maximum environmental resources for the organism to be survived. Maksudnya kalau in this case, when the n is equal to 1,000, meaning that when that space, at that area, when it achieve 1,000 of number of organism, like 1,000 of dog, 1,000 of human at that area, meaning that the growth will be stopped. No growth of already. Memang tak ada growth lah. In the full generation memang tak ada growth, and even though it will enter the death phase, akan mati. Akan mati. So meaning that in this case, when the n is equal to 1,000 number of organism, memang akan reach carrying capacity, and then the organism will stop to grow. Tak akan lahirkan anak lagi lah. Tak cukup lah. Tak akan lahirkan. So this one we curve is same as S shape. So normally this one is start slowly. Normally is same as the logic exponential. Normally is very start slowly, and then it will rapid growth until it reach the phase that become zero growth. So the difference between the exponential is it can reach when it reach the carrying capacity, the growth is stopped. And then for exponential, the growth is unlimited. Tak ada halangan. Very unlimited one. Okay. Okay, so this one also, and then when n approach k, so when the population size is opposed to carrying capacity, the population growth is slowed down. Meaning that when the population size start to near the carrying capacity, the population growth is actually already become slow. So you see here this curve, awak tengok kalau exponential memang tegak kan, dia memang terus pergi je, tak ada halangan. Memang sangat cepat. The growth is very fast. But for here, you see here, the gradient. This gradient is actually become the slope. The slope is become more higher lah. And then this one already the growth rate is very decreased already. Okay, when n equal to k, the population growth is 0. And when the population size is higher than the carrying capacity, it can be higher, but so the population growth will start to decrease. Dia akan turun punya. Memang tak akan ada organism akan start to mati punya. Kerana K already say carrying capacity is the maximum resources that the environment can be provided to that kind of organism. Memang maximum lah. Tak boleh lah. Saya tak boleh dapat lagi lah. As same as the car, right? The car only can seat 5 people only, right? Cannot seat 6 people, 7 people, right? You seat the 6 people, 7 people, at the long time, what are your situation? Tak selesa kan? Especially awak duduk dekat. And then it's very dangerous. And also the driving is very dangerous. And it is very easy to get accident, right? And then when the rate of accident is very high, meaning that the death rate also very high. So meaning our growth will be decreased. Some as here. Okay, so this one important one is provide this one, the important object curve is provide useful starting point to determine how population grow and construct more complex model. And then conservation biology for predicting how rapidly a population increase after it has been reduced in smaller size. And then it can to estimate the harvest rate of wildlife population and estimate the critical size below which the population of certain organism. So this is the importance of this curve. Next, we will proceed to survivorship. Okay, so just now the growth curve is very famous topic. It already come out many times in structural question, so you need to know it lah. What is the meaning of that curve? What is the meaning of that curve? You need to know lah. Okay, and then another one is survivorship. So this one is the survivorship. The definition is that the probability of the organism in a population that will survive to a particular age. We know that what all the organism memang dia ada the lifespan of the every organism have lifespan, right? Memang kan, like human we are not unlimited, unlimited one. That we have the lifespan. So maybe you are when you are age 80 years old, normally lah 80 years old, 90 years old, the human will even die one. There are no such thing that human can survive until 1,000, 2,000 years old or unlimited lifespan. No. Every organism memang dia ada lifespan dia. Just that is short or long only. So for human, human one of them, all of the organism. So this one is just want to survive, is just want to study the probability of the organism to survive. So there are main three types, type 1, type 2, and type 3. So different type of the survivorship curve will give the different type of probability to survive. So you see here, one of the example, human is type 1, birds is type 2, and then plant is type 3. So what are they? What are their mean? Okay, so for type 1, okay, type 1 is human. If you see this curve, so what are this curve represent about? So normally the y-axis is the proportion of surviving, meaning is a probability of that organism to survive. And then this one is the time, masa dia. Masa dia normally is year lah, the unit is year. The year, the time that the organism survive. This is the probability of the survival rate, probability the kebarangkalian untuk organism itu hidup. So in human type 1, awak boleh tengok, in mula-mula baby, the human like a baby form, the survival rate is very high. Our survival rate in baby is very high, right? Memang kan, baby, the survival rate is very high. So you see that when the baby is sick, see compared to the older people, when the baby is sick or the children is sick, normally in 1 day or 2 day you eat medicine, eat Panadol, dia akan sembuh. Memang sangat cepat. But compared to old people like your grandfather, nenek moyang awak, kalau dia ada sakit je, wah susah lah. Memang akan gunakan sampai 4 hari, 5 hari baru boleh sembuh. Or even when the sakit is very serious or the immune system is very high, it's very low, your immunity is very low, even though it can be death. And then the human, one of the example is the baby is not easily to get the disease. You got see the baby get the heart disease, get the hypertension, high blood pressure, not diabetes, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, cancer, got lah. Very low, right? The very low, bukan tak ada, very low compared to the older people. No, normally older people already got the probability to get the cancer. One of the thing, cancer is very high compared to the children. So this one type one is that the survival at the survival rate at the early life is very high. The death rate is very low. And then when the time is go further, the curve will drop. You will see that the curve is dropped, right? And then meaning that again this part the death rate is increased and then the survival rate is very low. One of the example is the disease, cancer. In older people, they are easily to get cancer, right? And then the cardiovascular disease, all that. And then the one of the characteristic of type 1 is it produce very few offspring and have the maternal care. Memang ada maternal care and then it will produce very few offspring. Normally in human we only can produce average in mostly case we only can produce one offspring, right? When your mother is pregnant, and normally in many case is produce one offspring, one offspring only, right? One baby only. And then got some people can produce twin, or even very rare they can produce 3 baby. Very rare. Very few case, but mostly only can produce one. And then human got maternal care, right? Awak ada papa awak, ibu awak jaga awak sebagai baik kan. Awak tak bagi makanan, bagi minuman, bagi awak rumah tinggal. Itu semua lah. Itu semua lah. Ada maternal care. Okay. And then this organism only can survive within the century, meaning that if normally this our like human or this kind of organism only can survive in within 1,100 years normally. Like human normally for nowadays can survive until 80 years old is very high lifespan already, right? Some of them maybe can go until 100. 100 is already very barely case lah. But for now, because of technology and nowadays, so the lifespan of the human is very high compared to the older generation lah. But normally the human only can live within the century lah. So normally the example is human and also large mammal. Large mammal like tiger, elephant, cow, all these lah, all these organisms. Dog and cat also one of the example. Okay. So this is the type 1. Another one, type 2. Type 2, you see that this is a straight line. Memang straight line. So what are the example is hydra and also squirrel, invertebrate organism, lizard, and annual plant. So what are the characteristics? You see that the survival rate and death rate are constant. There are no the lifespan along among their lifespan, the death rate is very constant one. There are no such things say that in early state the death rate is very high, or in early state the death rate is very low. No such thing. It is very constant. The probability is same at all. Memang constant one. So constant at all. So this one, the organism can survive permanently throughout their life. So the curve are intermediate. So example I already mentioned. So memang dia constant punya. Then dia kebangkaian untuk mati dan survive is half lah, 50%, 50%. Okay. Type 3 is the curve that when terbalik dengan human in early stage the survival rate is very high, right? But for this type 3, the survival rate of the early stage is very low. Memang dia mula-mula macam baby, if you apply in human, memang baby dia mudah untuk mati. Memang senang untuk mati. Memang senang saja mati. The curve will drop at the start, high death rate and low survival rate during early stage. Memang sangat kurang. During the early stage, the survival rate is very low. You see here the curve is drop right. They are sudden drop. Because this one is high survival rate, this one is low one. Memang dia in early stage the survival rate is very high, very low. So the curve will flatten during adult stage. So awak boleh tengok when the time period is become longer, the death rate actually become very become constant, more equal to constant, or we say as curve is more flattened. So meaning that when it is become adult, the death rate and survival rate is very low, and then the survival rate is very high. So yang ni memang terbalik kepada human. Memang terbalik. So normally this kind of organism it can produce a large amount of offspring because it need to prevent that dia ada anak cucu dia boleh survive. Kalau dia macam human only can produce one offspring, memang kalau one offspring memanglah sangat mudah mati kan. So maksudnya ini organism is easily to become the endangered organism. So it's very got logic lah. It can only produce few offspring. So in logical it will produce large amount of offspring. And then so the organism and then this organism can survive throughout the century. So throughout the century, meaning that when the organism is already reached the adult stage, when it can survive until adult stage, the lifespan of this organism is very hard, is very long. Dia boleh survive more than 100 years. But for human, we only can within 100 years. For this one, it can more than 100 years. So one of the example is oyster, and then plant, woody plant tree. You see that tree is can survive until 1,000 years, right? Tree can survive until 1,000 years. Fish also, fish actually, if human not catch it, it also can survive very very long. And another example is turtle. Turtle is one of the famous example because turtle can produce many eggs, right, in the beach. And then when it is broken, then the small turtle, the baby turtle is broken from the egg, dia akan jalan kan, from the big walk from the beach to the sea. So actually this period is the death rate is very high, right? Some maybe got the predator, many predator will catch it, makan dia. And when they enter the sea, there are also many predator at there. So meaning that the survival rate of the turtle in small age is very high. But when the turtle is already achieved adult stage, meaning that the turtle can survive very long. So normally turtle can survive up to 200 years or 300 years. So this one is the characteristic of type 3. And another characteristic is no maternal care. Tak ada ibu bapa jaga dia. Ibu bapa lahirkan dia, dia akan dia akan bye-bye. Bukan human punya. Human, when ada baby, memang jaga bye-bye kan. Yang ni memang tak ada jaga punya. Dia lahir je, bye-bye. Memang bye-bye punya. So ini organism memang dia tak tahu ibu bapa dia siapa. Memang dia tak tahu. So normally this kind of organism is in egg form, telur punya. Yang ni akan directly hasilkan organism lah. Yang ni akan hasilkan telur punya. Okay, so this one is type 3. So that's all for the survival rate, survivorship. So this one is one of the famous question and very easy question. Dia dah keluar banyak kali lah. Character structure ke, essay ke. So kalau dia keluar essay, memang untung lah. Very easy. This one is very easy. Okay, so that's all for this survivorship. Okay, now today we will go to K and R strategies. Okay, so this one K and R strategies, actually this one is about K and R strategy. K and R strategy is about the about some like the survivorship, but this one is more focused about the characteristic. The organism normally can be classified into these two lah. Either is under K strategy punya, either R strategy. So if you see that the K must be capital and then the R must be smaller. K memang capital letter and R is the smaller letter one. Okay, so this one is more focused about the characteristic of the organism. Okay, so K strategy and R strategy. Okay, so normally this question will in examination dia akan keluar compare. Dia akan sentiasa keluar comparison. So normally this one is the complete variable compare. So maybe normally in K strategy organism, the offspring is very few amount. Sangat few amount one. K strategy, few amount. Lifespan is very short. And there are parental K, and then the age at first reproduction is very lambat, late. Mortality rate is low in during the early stage. Mortality rate during early stage is low. The size of the organism is big, and then energy used in production is low. Competitive availability is well. Then defense is good. Time reproduce is requires over time. So normally this one case strategy, if you apply in survivorship, dia macam type 1 survivorship. Type 1 survivorship. And then you go to R strategy, small R strategy, you see that offspring is very many. It will produce the many offspring. Lifespan is very long and no parental care. And then age at first reproduction is very early stage. Mortality rate is very high in during early stage. And then the size of the organism is small. And then energy used in production is very high. Competitive ability is not well. Defense is poor. And then time reproduce only once. So in general, our strategy you can apply in survivorship normally is like type 3 survivorship. Ha. So these are all the organisms. So normally this case strategy, for example, is human lah. Human ke, tiger ke, mammalian ke, all this normally is under case strategy. This one, our strategy normally involve small organism. Small organism one. So normally you see that like offspring memang dia akan hasilkan ruang je, R strategy hasilkan banyak. And then this one age at first reproduction meaning that they are first time under sex. First time undergo sex with the different maksudnya first time untuk reproduce lah. First time ada pregnancy in human lah. First time got pregnant. So normally this case strategy is very late like human lah. Human kan kami tak boleh, kami normally in our first reproduction normally for now is like 20 years old right, 24, 25 years old. Now for even now until now got until 30 years old. 30 years old. So but for this R strategy it's very early. Like maybe 10 years old or 12 10 years old or 8 years old is already can undergo already have the first reproduction already. And then the size and then the energy used in production for this case strategy actually is low. Why low? Normally because of the number of offspring. Because the number of offspring that produce from case strategy is only little. But for R strategy is many. So logically, you need to use high energy. And then the competitive ability is well. So meaning that this one is well to able to competitive to other organism one. But for this one, it is not very easily to make a competitive. Kalau dia ada competitive memang dia mula untuk mati. And then the defense, so this one case strategy is good in defense. Kalau dia ada membahayakan dia, ada satu benda yang boleh membahayakan kehidupan dia, dia boleh buat defense. Like human, when human got people want to kill you, memang awak akan ambil defense kan? Awak akan halang dia atau awak akan pukul dia, awak akan halang dia kan? Automatically awak akan halang dia. But for this R strategy, the defense is very poor. Memang sangat poor. Awak nak kill dia memang sangat senang je. Memang sangat senang je. Because the defense system of this organism is very poor. And then the times for reproduction, normally time for reproduce normally for this category is including several time. For this R strategy only one time. Hanya satu kali je. Okay, so this one is example of case strategy. You can see there are human, tiger, crocodile, and also plant, woody plant. All of them are case strategy. And then the R strategy normally is the non-woody plant. You see that this non-woody plant or non-annual plant, microorganism, and then insect, and then mouse. All these very small smaller size organism. All these smaller size organism memang R strategy. R strategy. So, okay, so that's all for K and R strategies. Okay, so this one is also very famous question. One of the famous question, but it is very easy lah. Normally it will come out in essay question want you to compare between these two, or they will give you the organism name. Like you can compare the strategy of tiger and mouse, or tiger and insect, like that lah. Like that lah. And then you need to know lah. Tiger is in which strategy? Tiger is in K strategy, and then insect is in R strategy. Awak kena tahu lah. So, okay, that's all for this chapter. Okay, and then I will go to the carrying capacity. I think today I will finish up this chapter. Today I will finish up this chapter because now only 9 o'clock. So okay, today I will finish this chapter lah. Because why I go too fast? Because actually this one you already learn it. I just like do a revision only. So carrying capacity. So this one that you already you heard it before in logistic growth curve, right? So what are the carrying capacity? I already said that it is the maximum population size of the individual can be supported by the environment, meaning that the environment is that the environment only can achieve that kind of maximum population size only. Ha, ha, dia ada maximum dia. Memang kalau dah reach this, memang tak boleh lah. No growth occur already. Memang maximum population size of the individual can be supported by the environment. Meaning that one kind of environment, one area only can support this amount of population only. Like human, like Earth, normally in Earth, in example lah, in Earth only can support maybe 200 billion of human only. 200 billion of human. For example lah, I don't know, I don't do research, but maybe meaning that when it more than 200 billion of human in the earth, memang lah population our human population will be decreased at that time. So this is what we call as carrying capacity. Carrying capacity. Because that environment only can support that kind of population size only. If more than that, the environment can support. Kami tak boleh lah. Like resources, right? Like for now, government say that now we only provide not government like UPU lah. UPU I use most easy example UPU. Like the UPU, you know that in nowadays current year many people study want to go to tertiary study, and then many people take Stpm metric and foundation, right, as a C more too, so that the applicant of the UPU is much increasing from the year. But the UPU only provide that amount only. Memang lah, like for like the last like the this year UPU only provide, maybe I think it's only 1,000 like 100,000 of 100,000 of the uh places to the candidates, to the applicant. But the applicant more than 100,000, maybe got 200,000 applicants, but the spaces only have 100,000. So meaning that this 100,000 is the maximum population size. Memang maximum lah. Saya tak boleh bagilah. So kalau ada yang banyak, memang yang lain punya memang akan disqualify, terminated. Tak boleh lah, kerana environment saya hanya boleh, we only can support 100,000. Yang lain memang kami tak boleh support. Ini one of the example lah. Okay. So normally there are many factors that can limit the population size of the carrying capacity. So this one carrying capacity is the maximum population size. So what are the factors can affect this maximum population size? Because in one environment, although in the same environment, similar environment, but the maximum population size is maybe different from time to time. Because it is based on the environment one. In such environment, the maximum population maybe can become 100,000. But in such environment, the maximum population maybe it decreased to 500,000, 50,000 only. So dia ada kaitan punya. So apa factor? Normally this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lah. These 6 factors. Food availability, habitat space, water availability, light intensity, predator and nutrient availability. Memang semua ni lah. Because these are the environment that can affect the carrying capacity, affect the population size. Food lah, kan? our human, all of the organism nak food, nak makan. Kalau food banyak, memanglah the maximum population memang akan lagi banyak. And habitat space, the space that you will survive. Kalau habitat space dia besar, memanglah boleh support many organism. But the space is small, limited, memanglah tak boleh. And water, light, predator and nutrient, all these will affect. Memang salah satu je, bukan semua ni, but anyone will affect dia. Memang akan affect. Okay. And then there are also another two main factor we call as density dependent and density independent. So normally density dependent factor is a limiting factor that depend on the population size. This factor is because of the population size. Maybe the size of the population size is increasing or decreasing. So this factor will decrease the population growth when the population density increase due to the increase of death rate or decrease of birth rate or both. Kalau dah the death rate or birth rate got some problem, so that the population size will also can be affected. So one of the famous example is prey-predator relationship. So you see here, see this diagram, this graph, you see here, snowshoe hare and lynx. So normally lynx is the predator, and then this snowshoe hare is the prey. No prey. So you see here, when prey is increasing, the predator also increase. When the prey is decrease, the predator also decrease. Memang begitu. Kalau tengok prey is increase dan meningkat, predator pun meningkat. Tapi kalau prey turun, predator pun turun. Sama je. Memang depend dia. Kenapa? Predator will eat prey. Predator will eat prey. So kalau prey meningkat, maksudnya makanan dia banyak lah. Banyak makanan. Dia akan banyak makan banyak, and then we produce more. But when the prey is decreased, maksudnya the food is decreasing, so that the predator will not reproduce offspring. So this one is the famous characteristic, and then this one we call as boom and bust cycle. Boom and bust cycle. Okay, so when the prey population increase, the predator also increase because to enough of food. In contrast, when the predator population increase, the prey population will decrease due to the prey eat all the prey. Okay, so predator, not prey, predator. Okay. And then another one is infection disease. So infection disease also will affect the population size. So when the population size is overcrowded, this will lead to accumulation of waste product, resulting in the health issue among the population. Meaning that when the population size is actually already reached the carrying capacity or higher than carrying capacity already, meaning it will accumulate waste product and then resulting the health issue. Like COVID. Actually, the infection disease like COVID, coronavirus, or H1N1 actually is very normal one because it may be due to the ecosystem. Our ecosystem actually is recyclable, recyclable one. Dia ada balance punya. Memang natural one is very balanced punya. Kalau human terlalu banyak, memang in natural, memang dia akan ada caranya untuk turunkan bilangan orang. How to turunkan? One of the example is infection disease. Because why? Because of accumulation of waste product. Because human too large, overcrowded, meaning our waste product produced is very high. It's very high. So this waste product can result the new virus or new disease to us. And then this new disease will give the effect health issue to us. So normally parasitism or other harmful organism will affect the size of population. So the organism will get that disease, so that the population size will be decreased. So this is one of the example infection disease. Another one is because of competition. Okay, so there are two main competition, either is interspecific or intraspecific. So interspecific normally is competition between different species. Kami ada pertandingan, tapi pertandingan dia ada persaingan, bukan pertandingan. Persaingan adalah different species like human and dog. Human and dog different species, right? Uh, but for this one is rarely happen. Normally happen is intraspecific. That same species like human kami bersaing kan, memang bersaing punya. Human is one kind of organism, memang sentiasa bersaing dengan orang lain. Memang punya, like human, like in your class, right? Class, right, the ranking, in your primary school, right, ranking, who are the first place, and your mother and father always make a comparison, right? Ni wah, jiran awak tengok jiran dia dapat first class leh. Awak apa-apa? Tak nak belajar ke? Memang kan, ini memang human punya attitude memang macam tu. Memang kami nak bersaing punya. So this is the intraspecific competition. Okay, so under intraspecific, we have interference and exploitation. So interference normally is that the dominant species were able to obtain enough resources while other organisms were unable to compete it and they will die. Meaning that the species like human, like in the same species, but got some people is very strong. The power is very strong. It already strong until dia dapatkan semua makanan. Like I think in one family lah. One family like the case keganasan rumah tangga, like case in the example case keganasan rumah tangga, like the ayah, maybe your ayah is make a keganasan, make a violence to your family. So meaning that the ayah, but the father got the is the dominant species, meaning that it can able to obtain all the resources, ambil semua resources, and then mother and children cannot get the resources, and then they will die. Inilah one of the case. So ini interference. In nowadays, normally this one, if you want to give the example, normally is America Syarikat lah. You know that America Syarikat, America, United States, what United States do around the world, you know it. If you know the latest issue, awak tahu kan apa itu attitude United States one in the world. And then another one is exploitation competition. So normally this one is the ideal one, meaning that they share the resources. Kami kongsi. Saya tak akan ambil semua. Saya kongsi lah. Kongsi. So this one, they will ensure that organism can survive. Memang semua organism can survive very smooth. But this one is rarely happen in human. Very rarely. Normally human is interference one. Right. You know your human attitude normally is interference one. Exploitation is very rare happen in human. Sangat kurang lah. Memang sangat kurang. Okay. Another one factor is we call as density independent factor, meaning that this one is not normally this one is not the affect the population size because environmental factor. Yang kami human tak boleh control. Human is cannot control one. Yang ni semua human boleh control punya. The organism can control itself. All these human can control one. I use human lah. Organism can control one. But this one, environment, our organism can control. We cannot control environment. We cannot control environment. Tapi tak boleh cakap, tak mau hujan. Tak boleh hujan. We cannot control say that, today we want hujan. Esok kami tak mau hujan. The day after that, kami nak hujan. Tak boleh. Banjir pun tak sama. We want all the year, no banjir, no flood at all. Tak boleh kan? Environmental factor we cannot control. So this one all normally is required or include all the abiotic factor. So normally the example is flood, disaster, tsunami, earthquake, blizzard, or hurricane. Hurricane. All this lah. Memang kami tak boleh control. Kami tak boleh control. Memang dia occur naturally. Dia akan occur, memang occur. Kami tak boleh control. You can control. Can you control earthquake? Cannot, right? We cannot control earthquake. And we control tsunami? And also one of the example, volcano, can we control it? We cannot control it. It occur naturally, right? So okay, so this one is the density independent factor. So this one is also very important. You need to know it because this one is also one of the famous question in essay. Okay, I okay. Another one is actually is about the about the calculation, quantitative ecology. So this one, I think everyone already know it. Because this one I don't want to wasting many time lah. Yang ni kan, equation, all this. So this one actually I think the school teacher also very focused of this, and you have one project for this one. Your experiment, one of the experiment doing this. So I don't know you already start this project or not. I think you should start. I think you already start. So how to calculate all these? Actually, I think you already learned in SPM. Our school teacher, I think, will only focus. So all these memang awak kena memorize. And then this one is I can say 100% dia akan keluar dekat objektif lah. Memang akan keluar. At least one question lah. Or it can maybe also come out in structure question. Kalau dia keluar structure, wah memang untung awak lah. But you need to memorize all equation lah. Ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equation. 6 equation at all. So there are total 6 equation that you need to memorize. And then another one is this capture recapture method. So this one normally is applied in plant. This one is only can apply in plant. Only apply in plant. And then this one capture recapture method is applied in animal. Animal. Meaning that capture recapture meaning that capture our tangkap animal too, and then you make a labeling, and then you letak balik. Letak balik dekat area tu, and then awak ambil lagi. And then so that you will from that you use this equation, you will know the population size at that environment. And then so this one, you need to ensure that your places, your area does not contain any mutation, no selection, no speciation, and then no migration, no death, all you need to assume that lah and save that condition. If there are the immigration or migration, all these is not suitable, it will not your answer will not be accurate lah. So Malay, this one is the equation. So total organism in first sample times total organism in second sample. So this one self sample is first time you tangkap, first time you catch all the animal, and then you label it. You label it. First time you label it, but not all label lah. Maybe you label only. So label, you random label. You want to label 20, 30, up to you. Label. So normally awak tangkap first time, that in case maybe first time you catch 100, and then second, and then you letak balik. But during the first time you also label it. Some of the organism you label it, and then awak tangkap second time. So second time, you will also ensure and want to ensure that how many mark organism at there. Awak tangkap berapa mark organism. Maybe you first time awak marks 10, but in second time awak tangkap randomly kakak hanya 2 atau 3 mark saja. So ini with only 2 marking, you say ini awak tulis 2 lah. If only 3, tulis 3. So ini very easy. Okay, so this question later I will post in the group. You can do it yourself. So normally it's very easy question. Sangat senang je. Memang sangat senang. Tak susah. no susah pun. So okay, so I don't want to so this one is very easy lah. Later I will send it in the group and you feel you can do it and then you can post in the group lah. Okay, you want to share your answer lah or you want to confirm your answer, you can share it in the group. Okay, so that's all for this. So it's so yang saya nak bagi tahu iaitu awak memang kena memorize all these equation. Memang kena memorize. No way. Memang awak kena memorize all this. Semua ni. And biology will not give you the formula. Memorize je. Apa-apa je. Okay. Okay. But okay. So that's all. Wait a minute lah. Ada satu soalan. Awak tanya apa? Any info? Oh, line transet method. Oh, ini line transet method actually is not very famous doing this lah. It is not very famous because this one is what is using is quadrant method, right? This one is using quadrant. Ada banyak square, right? Line transet method is normally is using line one. But that method is not very famous because it is not very accurate. So normally in exam tak keluar langsung pun. MPN tak keluar langsung pun. That method is because is not very accurate method. It is not very accurate method because dia hanya guna line je. Awak hanya guna line je, then you randomly tuang randomly locate at there and then like that. So that method is not very famous method and already not recommended by researcher lah nowadays. If you want to nowadays when they want to calculate the quantitative, they will use the quadrant method. Quadrant method is the most famous one. So the most important in this chapter is that you need to memorize all this. Tak ada pilihan. Memang kena memorize semua ni. Ini memang bonus untuk awak. I can say it is already bonus to you because it is very easy. It is very easy and then you can get marks easily. Unless you can get the 1 marks in objective. Kalau lah because the question is already give you just memorize the formula and then use the formula. Just that you need to be careful about the unit lah. Normally in this unit we will use meter one, meter square, meter cube, all using meter. But some of them maybe question will use cm, so you need to convert to meter. Awak kena tukar kepada meter. So just that only that one you need to learn unit only. But for the formula you need to memorize. Oh, there are no selection. Memang kalau awak tak memorize, rugi awak je. If you dia keluar structure question, lagi rugi lah. Memang lagi rugi. Kalau structure question maybe 7 marks. 7 marks, 7 out of 7 marks, maybe 5 marks are calculation. You already lose 5 marks. And then you need to know symmetry, no retain. So you will not memorize. Kalau dia keluar structure, 5 marks hilang. Lepas tu tahu menyesal. Aduh, kenapa tak memorize? Okay. So whatever you need to memang kena memorize lah. No pilihan. Okay. So I think that's all for this. So okay. Now next we will go to the last topic is the pattern of distribution. Okay. Okay, this one is the last topic or this chapter, pattern of distribution. Okay, so normally this one is just want to study about the distribution of the population. So there are 3 types of population distribution. So normally is that how individual of a population are spread around the area. So you know there's some of the organism, there are three type of distribution. Some of the organism is clump. Memang dia berkumpul satu kelompok punya. Awak tengok ni, satu area ni memang ada satu kelompok di sini, satu kelompok. Memang satu kelompok punya. And then you see this uniform distribution meaning that the organism is uniformly distributed. Dia tak ada macam kawan-kawan punya. Memang satu locate at randomly and it is uniform punya. Not like this. This is random. Random memang tak ada tak ada apa? Tak ada logik punya. Memang sesuka hati. Sesuka hati dia nak pergi mana dia nak pergi mana. But this one uniform dia ada logik dia. Memang satu di sini, satu di sini, satu di sini. Yang ni memang tak ada logik lah. Cincai ni lah. Dekat mana lah. Yang ni ada logik punya. Yang ni is group together. They group to each other. Like normally like human lah. Human maybe can come satu kelompok kan. In one class, maybe in one class ada satu kelompok kawan dekat sini, satu kelompok kawan dekat sini kan. This is a clump distribution. So normally this one is uneven distribution of resources in the environment. So normally it's occur when are concentrated in specific part of the habitat. So normally it's due to the habitat. Maybe that some places at that part got the resources. Kerana dekat sini maybe at here got resources. So semua dekat sini. Semua akan pergi ke sini, akan berkumpul ke sini. And then maybe at here also got resources. So semua akan berkumpul ke sini. And then so due to patchy distribution of resources in the environment. So normally example is plants and fungi, insect and sea star. So okay. And then another one is uniform distribution, meaning that the population are uniformly split out. There is the regular spacing between the organisms. So you see like this penguin, ini penguin. Awak boleh tengok kan, ini space dia memang uniform punya. Dia ada the spaces between the one organism and one penguin and another penguin is uniform. So this one is occur due to the competition of resources like sunlight, nutrient, and water because they need to obtain the same resources. Kalau mereka came together, meaning that they cannot obtain the sunlight. Kalau semua perlu together, macam mana dia tak dapatkan sunlight and also nutrient, macam mana nak dapatkan makanan and also water. And then this one will cause directly interaction between individual in the population. And then this one random distribution. So this one normally is occur in plant. So you see that normally this one is randomly spread out within the population, and then the area of habitat is regularly spacing of population between the individual. And then this one occur due to the consistent environment and resources. And then in a population is independent of other individuals. So there are the normally this one is because of the every part of the resources is fully has the you have the enough resources to them to survive. But tak sama dengan ni, yang ni maybe they have the competition. They is due to the competition. Only that certain part, saya tak mau kawan dengan awak because I have the competition dengan awak. But the space is uniform. But for now, for this, it is randomly distributed. Meaning that the competition is very low. Meaning dia boleh survive lah dekat mana-mana je. Tak ada halangan. Dia nak survive mana-mana, okay je. Kerana dia ada enough resources at there. So each individual is in a population is independent of other individual. Meaning that tak ada kacau punya. Saya duduk di sini, saya tak kacau awak. Awak saya duduk di sini je. Saya tak akan kacau awak. I will not have the competition to give with you, and then I only just obtain the resources from here only. Saya tak akan kacau awak. Yang ni memang dia akan kacau punya. Memang maybe this penguin will go to another penguin and then fighting or ada competition like that lah. So they have the interaction one. But for this, tak ada interaction punya. Independent punya. So normally random punya normally is plant lah. Because plant cannot move. Dia tak boleh bergerak. But for animal is uniform. Animal either is uniform or cloud. Okay, so I think that's so okay. So that's all for this chapter. So okay, so that's all for this chapter. So any question about this chapter? So in general, I just want to primer. In general, this chapter is not very hard chapter. I can say it's not very hard chapter. It's very easy chapter. So the hot topic of this chapter normally is the starting from this lah. In this part, ecological curve, survivorship, carrying strategy, carrying capacity, sampling method, and also pattern distribution is this is the hot topic lah. Yang ni bukan cakap tak penting lah, penting juga. Tapi yang ni kurang keluar daripada soalan. Yang biogeochemical cycle is one of the dia ada keluar lah. Akan keluar juga lah. But yang ni tiga ni and also energy flow is very come out. Very come out. The most famous one is this lah, sampling method. Just memorize formula only. Okay. I think that's all for this today. So, any question? If no question, so I think I will end the class today. So tomorrow we will go to the selection. So the last chapter for this semester. So I already covered all chapter. So tomorrow I will cover the last chapter, selection and speciation. So I think no questions. So okay, so that's all for today. So thank you. So later I will post the question, the calculation question in the channel, so you can try to do it. Try to do it. If you don't understand, you can ask in the group. So I think the question is very easy lah. When you got memorize the formula, you memang awak boleh buat. So I think that's all for today. So thank you for attending. So see you tomorrow. So bye. And another thing is about U2. So I already made a Google form. So hopefully you guys can, for those who take U2, please fill it because I need to analyze which chapter that I need to teach first. Because U2 saya tak akan ajar one chapter lah. I only will select the famous, the most chapter that you guys need. So that's all for today. So thank you. So see you. Bye. And happy Merry Christmas for those who celebrating. Bye.